Soma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya.
So Jeffrey and Linda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
Let's just start at the beginning, actually, right? How this started off with yourselves. So, I think I'm going to use the phrase what you used before. Someone was knocking at your door some time ago.
It was kind of an inner knocking. I mean, we were living in Texas at the time. We had a marketing consulting business, and then we were involved in an aviation startup business. So we were very, very busy, but there was just this something really deep down within, and it was almost haunting. Like, what is that? What's happening? And to make a very long story short, I was flying home from on a business trip, flying back home one night, and suddenly I heard a very clear voice outside of me. You know, not the head voice, but a very clear voice, and said, "I'm Tobias. I'm here to work with you."
What was the initial connection, soul-wise, do you think?
I originally channeled Tobias, and he had such a grandfatherly energy, very nurturing, and you know, his whole message during the time that I was channeling him was basically, "You're not crazy." I mean, to the audiences, "You're not crazy. You're just on a very, very special journey." He told me early on that we had an old agreement that we would come back together. He on the other side, me here.
And when you hear this voice, is it your voice that comes through yourself, or is it do you hear your voice and you just kind of repeat it, or?
Well, initially, it did kind of sound like me because it was running through the filters of my mind. Then at one point, relatively early on, Tobias said, "We're not going to use words anymore." And that was very, very difficult, not speaking in words, and he didn't talk to me in words. He didn't want me speaking in words. It took me about 3 months to really learn how to do that, but it was a total blessing because I learned that words really limit the expression. And from then on, there was no words. When I connect with Adamus Saint-Germain, who I now channel, he doesn't really talk to me in words. It's like an instant download, and it's all in that packet. It's like then I take the ball of string and unravel it.
What makes your channeling different to others out there?
I would say one of the things now with Adamus is his interaction with the audience.
Yeah.
He was very in people's face. First of all, I had to open my eyes. That was a shock after 10 years of closed-eyed channeling. And then when he got up out of the chair, it was very odd because through my eyes, I realized when I'm channeling, I don't see things like I do with my human eyes. It's overlays of stories of lifetimes. So when Adamus comes in and I see a person, I'm not just seeing them as Kevin, I'm seeing Kevin. Past lives, layers that kind of blur back and forth. And it's very disorientating then to try to get up and walk around. It's like walking, I always say it's like putting 10 film projectors on one screen, and you have all these images one on top of the other. In answer to the question now, I think the biggest thing that we appreciate about Tobias and Adamus, and once in a while I channel Kuthumi, the biggest thing is they've all been in human form.
Yes.
And they understand the human journey. They have such empathy for what we're going through, but they also won't let us get caught in our own makyu, our spiritual distractions. I find that to be such a value that they've been here, they've been on this earth. They're not channeling from another galaxy
that's
or
huge to me.
whatever. They know what it's like.
So what sort of people are you attracting into your audience? Are they conspiracy theorists, ufology kind of people?
Oh, Adamus has run them out a long time ago. No, he really did. When Adamus came in, he basically made it very clear. He said, this is about going into embodied enlightenment, nothing else. We're not going to get into conspiracies. We're not going to talk about astrology. We're not, none of that. He said it's truly focused on embodied realization.
On yourself.
I would say the people that are attracted to this are the ones that have consciously chosen for this to be their last lifetime on the planet in human form, that have chosen their spiritual realization, or their spiritual realization is the most important thing. And that's a tough one because it's more important than families, more important than their ego, more important than their success or anything else. This is what matters. So we find that people tend to be very self-full. They're not selfish, but they're self-full. They realize they're here for a reason, and they're taking care of themselves so they can have this realization in this lifetime.
Do you ever have those feelings that you wish you could have, or you wish this could be accessible to more people, in the sense of even mainstream media just having a bit of more of an interest in it, or are you not even bothered?
It's not for the world. The world really doesn't want to hear about it. If they did, it's on our website. It's most of the stuff on the website is free, but we're not trying to get it out there to the masses, and it makes marketing really easy because you just don't do any. And, we're staying very focused on the work that we do. We're not trying to outreach.
You really can't change anybody else. It has to be with you. And then if you do the best you can for yourself, the most you can for yourself, beyond that, everything else radiates out. But Tobias was very clear about his message being about to love yourself. And Adamus also added to that it was also about trusting yourself. And again, that kind of, it fits everything that we do, actually. People, it's really there to get people to learn to love and trust themselves.
It's our last lifetime. It's time to gather everything up, all the aspects, past lives, this lifetime, time to bring them into integration, honor all the lifetimes. Then everything is brought into wisdom. It's brought from the mind logic into wisdom. We're just allowing, we're just kind of gathering all that up before we leave.
But that's only for a few, though. Before the masses that aren't even aware of this material, I mean.
Adamus doesn't address the masses.
But are they coming back?
Oh yes.
I'll tell you the other thing that is beyond words is that we don't look, like I said, we aren't trying to recruit people, but we'll be out traveling in particular, and people will come up to us and tell us these incredible stories about how they found the Crimson Circle and how the material saved their life, changed their life, helped them see through things they couldn't imagine. I mean, the stories are so unbelievable. And I used to be a school teacher. I can't imagine having heard stories that dramatic from being a school teacher, and we're hearing this doing the Crimson Circle.
It's humbling.
It's humbling.
Yeah.
So how are people transformed? What's the basic transformation that takes place in a person coming across this material?
I don't know where to begin.
Yeah. Number one, realizing that they haven't done anything wrong in their journey, that they're not going crazy, I think is huge. And I think the other big things, once they get it, it's so profound, is that all this is natural. Greetings. I am that I am, Adamus of Sovereign Domain.
The first thing I want to really say is, isn't it always the case that we put you on such a pedestal, right? But we are so important to you as you are to us. It's a two-way thing, isn't it?
Indeed. I have tremendous honor for humans in general, for I have been one many times, and particular tremendous honor and respect for those who are going into their enlightenment. It is oftentimes a brutal journey for the human. For the master, not so much. For the I am, doesn't really care. But for the human, it's taking everything that they had dreamt of and hoped for as a human. Every ounce of their identity, which you would call their ego, every goal and aspiration, and simply shattering it. Rightfully so. It needed to be shattered, and if you really go deep down within, you knew it was all going to be shattered, but it is still difficult to face once you're there.
So you were saying there that a master in the phase of becoming a master or awakening to that possibility in this life would have the human experience from a different perspective? Would it be so difficult?
Well, to the master, this whole process of realization is natural. To the master comes from the future, so to speak. It's already occurred. It's not an if or when. It's not, will I make mistakes along the way? The master comes from the future, the realized self, and then comes back into the experience of what it was like to get there. So the master has no fear or doubt. The master has tremendous patience, and should you as a human choose to make this difficult, the master will wait. If you as the human would choose to ignore it, as most humans do, the master will wait. There is no interference from the master whatsoever. The master doesn't really care or mind if you get distracted, because sooner or later you'll come back to this. You have many, many potentials of how you get to realization, many different ways to do it. It's totally up to you. Would you like to do it the easy way? Or do you want to do it from a way that really defines the experience, that is visceral, that is sensual, that is even combative and conflictive? It's totally up to you.
We don't feel that we have a choice sometimes, do we? Where is that easy side? How do you tap into that?
No, you just get out of your own way. You allow. That's it. You see, it's not the human's responsibility for enlightenment anyway. It's not. And the human could not do it if they tried, because they're going to humanize it. So if you want it easy, you take a deep breath and you realize that enlightenment is a natural process. It's going to occur. And you allow it. It's that easy. Then you go out and play the rest of your life. Just let energy serve you. Be conscious of letting energy serve you.
But you've got to know what you want.
Not necessarily. You get to a certain point and you realize that goals are very human. Yes. Purpose has no meaning. There's no purpose. And humans don't want to hear that. There's no purpose in all this.
But that thing which you really want to do, let's call it passion, mm-hmm. whatever. I mean, is that not the driving force then? Or, because you're saying just let go? There is an underlying passion that you may not even be aware of. I call it knowingness rather than passion, but it's very similar to passion. It's very deep down within. It's what got you into this journey. It's what brought you from just another in a long series of human lifetimes filled with karma, filled with your ancestors' DNA and everything else. There's something deep down within that was driven by a certain level of despair and a certain level of impatience. You connected with that knowingness, let's call it passion, to use your word. It suddenly changed everything and put you on the spiritual path. Really what's happening here is you're trying to define something, this awakening coming into mastery that doesn't really need definition. Because A, it's already happened. Now you're just going through the experience. B, don't try to define it. Leave it wide open. Feel into that knowingness, that passion, but don't try to corral it. Don't try to define it. Allow it. You're never going to have this experience again. You're never going to repeat it of going from the human condition into the realized human and master and I am. So enjoy it, even if it has its bad days.
even if you're feeling crushed and brutalized by enlightenment. And again, I'm not talking about humanity in general. I'm talking very specifically about the group that's here for their embodied mastery. There's really no goal in it. There's no purpose in it, actually. And some will have a very difficult time with that. Yet, there are many outcomes of it. You want to be here to enjoy the integration of the human, the master, the I am, all together. I call it the body of consciousness. It's everything. It's physical. It's ethereal. You want to do it because in your last lifetime on the planet, you want to complete all that and stay here for a little while and experience. Let yourself experience the things you would never let yourself experience before as a human. Joy, happiness, self-love, a feeling of completion, not quite the right word, but I've done it. I've did it.
You answered my next question, actually, which is, what does a master's life look like?
A master's life is filled with getting up in the morning and having no particular goal or purpose. Not having to do anything that day, but yet the day is very full. The human has a difficult time with that.
Because we've got bills to pay, we've got commitments.
Yeah, but the master doesn't. The bills just kind of get paid. And the master takes great delight in just watching how the play of life is coming to him. At this point, a person comes along who needs a kick in the ass, and the master is happy to do it for them. They come up to the master and start complaining about their life. They don't have enough money, they can't pay their bills, and the master basically turns it back on them. Why not? And the master is not generally the type that is coddling to humans, because the master knows that's one of the worst things for a human. The master says, find it within. Yeah. So, and then the day develops, and the master doesn't worry about where it's going or the meaning or the purpose. The master is in this amazing theatrical production called life, but no longer addicted to it, no longer stuck in it, no longer at the mercy of energy or other people. You're able to realize, you're aware that you're living within your creation. That's the most amazing things. Colors are brighter, music is more beautiful than ever before, humans are funnier than ever before. And it suddenly, everything comes to life, and you realize the grayness that life had before.
Isn't life too short then to come from the perspective of the way we do sometimes for it to be so painful?
Oh yes, indeed. But actually, in a way of speaking, humans seek pain.
We must do.
Oh, absolutely, because pain makes one feel alive, makes one feel like they are having purpose in their life. So there's a few who come along, and there's not many. I've been doing this for a long time. There's a few who come along in every generation, and they come in with such a knowingness that this is going to be a different lifetime. So suddenly, boom, things change. They're into the awakening. And initially, awakening is, it's euphoric.
And is it the same as listening to the inner voice when it comes through?
Yes, in a lot of ways. The initial awakening is euphoric, because you realize there is something different. You realize there are other realities. You realize that dreams are more than just the nocturnal churnings of the mind. You suddenly realize there's so much more. But then comes it is time for everything to change. That light within, that wisdom, is shining enough that it's going to say, new path, exactly, new path. And if new path means getting sick and being in bed for a year, losing your house, losing your relationships and your friends, if that's what it takes, so be it. Because those are all temporary. Those are all illusions in a way.
So when you go down new path, or when you go and just be with the path that's in front without trying to control it, you're actually guiding yourself down the path that's set best for you anyway. That's already happened in a sense.
Yes.
Or that will lead you to mastery.
Yes.
Through the most painless and, well, I don't know, painless, but at least with the best intention.
Yeah, it's the very thing that is going to bring you to guide you to realization, whether it's this lifetime or another lifetime.
So you can, right, so, okay, yeah, because it may not be this lifetime for some people to reach mastery.
Exactly.
How much is my crap?
How much of all this burden, struggle, pain, everything else that you're feeling, how much of it is yours, is Kevin's?
I want to say quite a high percent.
Oh, why do you want to say that? Because it feels good, because it's like, makes you feel a little worthy. It makes you feel like then you're really experiencing something and doing something, and you know, it makes for good drama. Literally, you've got 2.8% that is actually yours. The rest is not. These issues really aren't yours, but you take them on. You live them as they were your own. You almost have a passion for them, and you feel that maybe you weren't really doing your job if you're not feeling the pain of others. But let's shift all that. Let's move into a whole new era. You can still have compassion and awareness, and you can actually do more to help those people who are ready make shifts within themselves by being the master rather than the servant.
Now, I mean, why should your truth work for me?
Because, first of all, I'm a sovereign being. I am an ascended master, gave myself the title, but it seemed appropriate. And I've been working with hundreds of thousands of humans. I have worked with more ascended masters before they were ascended masters than any other ascended master. So, experience.
Good answer. So others have said to me on this journey that we create our reality.
So often when the human thinks of creating their own reality, they get very, very mental. And, you know, if I would ask ordinary humans, we'd talk about creating your reality, they would think in terms of a bigger house, more money, they're younger, they never age, they never get a disease, everybody loves them. But then it's very mental also. So it doesn't bring in the energy to respond to it, and then they get all depressed because it doesn't happen, and they think there's something wrong with them. I'm talking something totally different here. You suddenly realize that you've been a slave to energy for lifetimes, having to work a job, having to work hard, having to struggle through every day. You're working for energy. You suddenly turn the corner and realize that, oh no, I am that I am. Energy is here to serve me. All of the energy that you need comes from you. None comes from me. None comes from the universe. The universe doesn't dole out energy. It's all yours. You suddenly come to the point of realizing that energy is here to serve you, but then you come to the brutal realization or wondering, am I worthy? Will I misuse it? Will it impede my enlightenment? Is this real? Am I just making this up? So you go through the whole litany of the human junk until you finally, basically, unfortunately, have nothing left, nothing, you don't have any cliches to pull out of your hat anymore. You got nothing left other than to see if it works, to let it work. That's a turning point. Hopefully you don't have to get that low to make it work. You can realize just through what we're talking about here. Suddenly you realize, just let energy serve me. It's my creation, all this. I'm living within it. Why wouldn't I want my own energies to serve me? When you realize if you're static, consciousness doesn't move. You're static, time and space are moving through you. And as they do, they bring a tremendous amount of energy, everything you'd ever need. But when the human perceives that they're having to struggle through time and space, well, then it's going to seem not a lot of energy. And all of this is really quite amusing, fun, and easy. And for anybody that is not agreeing with me right now and cussing me out, you're having a fun time with the stories that you're in. The only thing I ask is, instead of feeling that you're trapped in them, go into the and, like I just said. Part of you trails off, and you realize that the story kind of is fun. The near-death experiences, the lack of funds to pay your bills, it's kind of an interesting story up to a point. And now you get to the point where you realize that all that can shift, all that can change, and it's really quite easy. It's not up to you for your enlightenment. The only thing I would ask you or any of you to do, simply allow what is a very natural process into realization. And the one other thing, very important, start feeling this new perspective of letting energy serve you. And the human mind will go, of course, and I always will, but it never does. No, you're still a slave to energy. Start really feeling what it would be like for energy to serve you, for time and space to flow through you rather than you going through time and space, for the future to come here and serve you rather than you constantly searching for the future. It's an entire shift of energy.
I almost want to say the words, you become a master.
Absolutely.
Or remember the master within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not even remembering, because the master, as you would remember, would be different than the one that you are becoming. Very different. Imagine for a moment the I am, the soul. The enlightenment has already occurred, but the soul will feel incomplete if it doesn't know how it got there. It knows the end result, but it wants to fill in the color of the experience. And that's where you come in. What was it like getting there? What was it like going through all the trials and tribulations? What was it like getting involved in interviewing spiritual teachers and channelers? What was it like now kind of being the gathering point of other people's challenges, allowing yourself to be that focal point of their challenges? Wasn't even yours so much. And what was it like coming to those aha moments along the way? And not only they're ahas for you, but you're reaching your ahas as the very people that you're appealing to in your work are reaching theirs. So what was all that like? So this is your experience of getting from point C to point A, from going back. It's all just a marvelous story. It's a big fat story. The human wants to put tremendous meaning and purpose on it and everything else, but there's not. And everything blows up. You know, all the old beliefs, everything else, and the mind grapples with it. But then one day you realize, oh, it's so simple. It really is so simple. And just allow.
Guru